So everyone thinks water doesn't have a value, and it has not only a dollar value, it has, of course, the community value and the personal values. There's some thinking, and I see that, I'm like, why can't we put the mighty Monongahela? And why can't Community Bank sponsor the mighty Monongahela? Of course, I think every time I read something, I always think of the irony of a lot of what goes on. I try to read from Damascus citizens and seeing across the Commonwealth what's going on, who's doing what, what's going on in Texas, those kind of things. What are they doing to combat this? These messages and these lack of water. I mean, this poison water. What are they? What's going on? But yet, then I hear that Texas is one of the most states that people are moving into, and that's scary. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Maybe if we have them all together. Then maybe it's not such a bad thing. But you figure if their population's increasing, the stress on their water table is increasing. Good luck. Yeah. But I can't worry about Texas. I can only worry about my little corner of the world and the middle and the Mon River. And hopefully we could help each other in some way. But at the same time, we're getting brainwashed. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Just if anybody is listening to this and considering leasing their rights, or
oh boy, get an attorney. Yeah. Get an attorney, for the love of Mike. Protect. There's ways in your lease you can protect your water and the people downstream from you. You have the power in that lease to protect your neighbor. And I hope that folks that have not yet signed a lease really consider that as something in their lease that they won't relinquish through the company. And I think if that were to happen, I think we would be in a very nice place. And I think that if you are going to sign a lease, you better make sure that you have a right to position that well where you want, and that you have a right to tell them to get off if you want, and those kind of things. I don't know if I'd sign one myself, but I think if you're going to, you better do your homework. You better ask your neighbors, and you better really do a lot of research and protect everything. And protect your neighbor as well, because you do have that power to do that. So I hope they really embrace that kind of power to do so. And I think we could have a really better community and region, if we would start thinking of our neighbors in terms of, gee, if I do that, that could hurt them down the road.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping. I mean, there's still people that have not signed leases. That I know people that have yet to sign a lease.
Yes.
And they don't know if they're going to sign a lease. I have a friend that has about 200 acres that she says she gets calls all the time. Yeah. Her and her husband get calls. And she said, I don't want 1 inch of my land to change. And what's even funny is the coal underneath her property is owned by Consol. So she doesn't even know she's going to get mined under. Someone's going to have to find the owner of that coal. Yeah. So right now, she says, I'm actually feeling pretty good. And I said, well, you're going to be the little piece of property, 200 acres that's left that doesn't have longwall mining under it or an abandoned mine. Because that's pretty much the east end of the county, it's all abandoned mines. And now on the west end and in the center, it'll be all longwall mines. See, all the mines are coming together. They're all going to meet in Waynesburg. All the panels, they're all going to mine right up to the borough of Waynesburg. Yeah, and I know when the coal rights were sold here, it was like 1900. Yeah. And nothing, and I'm sure when they were sold, of course when they were sold, They had no thought of what a long wall panel was. You know, when they sold these rights, they were thinking pick and shovel, those kind of things. I don't think they ever envisioned what was to come. And even this Marcellus, I don't know if people really envisioned that as well. The water pollution, the waste, the brine, all that stuff that is harmful. The VOCs coming off these things, and that's like I said, she's lives right behind she has a compressor station behind her, and we have a compressor station actually not far from here that sits. It sits on the ridge, but you can't see it. They have just tore that road up like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. And then I went up it the other day, and it's got something sprayed, to control the dust. And I'm like, what is that? Because I didn't think anybody was allowed to put anything on dirt roads anymore to control the dust, except maybe some calcium. And I'm looking at this because, like, when I was a kid, they did oil. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's what that looks like. Yeah. Yeah. I said it's either brine, or it's waste brine, or it's oil. And I said, gosh, do I call? I don't know if I can take on that challenge at this moment, But I thought, wow, it was all the whole way up the road and came out, and I was like, I don't know what's on that road. I haven't seen anything like that since I was about 8 years old, when they used to do that. When you used to use Red Dog on your driveways and oil on your roads and things like that. Well, I'm like, I bet the township did this for them. See, the townships, they get a load of gravel there's a lot of things that are happening at the township level that people need to be, if people even just got involved in their township meetings, I think it would have such a huge impact as to controlling things, zoning, Morris Township does have zoning. Yeah. It's like one of the leaders of the western end of the county as far as their township trying to do different things, but they still like the gravel. They still like that gravel. Yeah. Like, you drive over it once, it's gone. So for some reason, gravel is very, it's very fascinating. But I don't care about gravel. So and there are folks that I know that attend the township meetings that are trying to see, what we can do, how we can start up maybe a zoning committee or a planning commission or something like that to put things in place. And I myself and a few other folks, there was about 12 of us that attended democracy school with the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund, CELDEF, and they are all about home rule and about self-governance. And that scares a lot of people. Yeah. Although they act independent, they talk tough. But when it comes down to, okay, we're going to control our own destiny here. Yes. Wow. It scares them. It's a change. It's change. The folks that have taken the democracy school, we're trying to learn our communities more to see where that line is, where things they'll accept and things they will absolutely not accept. So we've found some commonalities there with water, being pro-water, not being anti-coal. Yes. Anti.
It's a fine line to walk.
Yes, it is. A very fine line. So that's kind of what we're doing. Is we're trying to find that balance so that people will get on board and not be angry and feel resentment towards my protection of water, and those folks that are protecting water feel resentment towards those folks that have signed leases. And I haven't seen a lot of the resentment towards folks that have signed leases. Now, that's me. I don't know about anybody else. Yes. I'm busy living my life. I can't worry about someone else's financial, But there are folks that do, especially small community.
I'm sure.
Look at him, he's driving, blah blah blah. Just signed a lease. Well, yeah, but that might be his last new car he ever gets. He's 80 years old. Or something like that. So you try not to push any resentments or anything like that, and just like I said, trying to walk that fine line between getting the community together to talk to each other and to be for something, not against something. So, and I think that avenue is the way to go for us. Some groups may not want to take that avenue, but that's fine too, because we actually learn from those groups that are really anti-coal and anti-gas, anti-fossil fuels, I'll say it that way. And I've learned a lot. I mean, I've really learned a lot from groups across the world on coal issues and things like that, so I'm sure I'll start learning more on gas. All right, well, Kyle, it was really nice talking to each other.
Thank you for being so informative.